Alright, so in this video we're gonna add some nice and shiny collectible thingies. So let's add a cylinder, call it collectible, and scale it down a little bit so that it looks like a coin. Let's add a new material for it and make it nice and emissive. And let's also add a light source to it. Now let's drag our object onto the project panel to make a prefab out of it. And now we can press Ctrl D a bunch of times to make a bunch of copies of it. Let's open the prefab and make sure that the capsule collider is set to trigger. Now let's add a new script called collectible, move it into the scripts folder. And what we're going to do in this script is we're going to make our coins rotate in the update method. Time.time is the time since we started the application in seconds. So we're rotating by 100 degrees per second. Now let's add a UI counter for the number of coins that we've picked. Let's add a new canvas object and set the scale mode to scale with screen size. And let's also add a new text object to it and call it count. We can press F with our canvas object selected and press this 2D button to see our canvas and position the text. In our text object, let's add a new script and call it collectible count. Now in the script, we need to be able to keep track of the number of coins that we've collected. In order to be able to actually do that, let's open our collectible script first. And let's add a new public static event of type action called onCollected. For the action delegate to be a variable to us, we need to include the system namespace. And then when something touches the trigger on trigger enter, we're going to check that this something is a player by checking the player tag. And if it is, we're going to invoke our event and destroy our game object. And of course, let's make sure that our player actually has the player tag. If you run this, you'll see that we can now collect the objects, but you may also notice a bunch of errors in the console saying that we're trying to use the old input system in the UI. When we created our canvas object, it also created an event system object for us. In this object, you can click on this replace with the new input module button to fix the issue. Now let's actually make the counter update when we collect the coins. In our collectible count script, let's start by getting reference to the TextMatchPro component, like so. And a new method to update the text when we collect a new object. And on enable, let's register it for the collectible onCollected event. And on disable, we're gonna unregister it. One problem that you'll see when you hit play is that it actually says new text instead of 0 before you collect the first coin. And also it would be nice to have the total number of collectible objects displayed somewhere. So in our collectible script, let's create a new static integer called total and increase it by 1 on awake. In the counter script, we're going to add a new method called updateCount, and in it we're going to set the text to count out of collectible total. Then on collected, all we're going to do is just increase the count and make a call to updateCount. And let's also call it on start to make sure that it updates when the game starts. And now if you hit play, you'll see that it's all working as intended.